Hope you enjoyed the coffee chat with the singers, if you're here for that. More to come. And we continue now with our discussion about Western Australia. We're going to finish the states today. And then the next time we get together to talk ports, we're going to be talking about ports in South Australia as we move through. But we've still got 2 more to go in Western Australia. Before we get to that, though, we need to talk about something. What happened? I couldn't believe it. The cyclone stole the big prawn. I was so upset. So but they didn't take it down last year, and it's the same cyclone season. This year they must have been particularly scared of the cyclones. Anyway, there was as you are well aware, there was no big prawn, but that didn't stop some of you from entering our photo contest. I give you 2 entries here, both involving people and prawns. We have we have a big group of prawns on one side, and we have a big prawn on a fork, which is an equally big fork on the other side. And so well done, and thank you to our entries there. We'll have to make sure that the next photo challenge is one that can actually happen. We continue with a quick refresher of the map, so you can see where we now are. We are still in WA, Western Australia, but we've come down now from the top part here, Exmouth. We're going along here, and we're coming in into this section here. That's for Perth, for Fremantle. Then we're going to go around the corner, and Albany is here in the south coast of Western Australia. Let's take a look at Fremantle first of all, and I know, how exciting is this? Look at those symbols. I was excited too. It's the first port we've had 2 columns. As you can see, the port in Fremantle is quite popular. It's got Wi-Fi, cafe. There are taxis that you can get from pretty close outside. There's some information, tourist information, in the morning. There's a toilet roll. There's a telephone. There is a shuttle bus as well. And let me tell you about the shuttle bus part, because most of you won't use it. Because you really don't need it here. There are only 3 buses. It's not something that we as Holland America Line do. It's something that the port does when there is a cruise ship in. They put together 3 shuttle buses that just go back and forth between the terminal area and the town hall. Now, you'll see in a moment when I put the map up that is a fairly short walk, and so we don't anticipate a huge number of people making use of the bus, but it's helpful for you if you want to. It's good to know it's there. It is not there for the entire duration of our stay. It's there from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So on both days. So it's a daytime bus. If you would like to use it, it's complimentary, but there are only 3, and they'll just go back and forth. If you want to walk into town, then it's pretty straightforward to do it. All you need to do is walk across the train tracks. Please look both ways. And I've put a new symbol. I'll explain it for you. You can see where the ship is. We're the ship in the circle. We're going to be at D block tomorrow. D is the pier that we're going to be at. And then there is a choo-choo train there, and that is the train that will take you to Perth. So if you wanted to go to Perth tomorrow, you go on this little steam train here, and it will take you 30 minutes to get into Perth. It's one train. It's a very easy ride, and the line is called the Fremantle line. So then when you want to come back to Fremantle, it's really easy to remember because the line takes the name of the place that you're going to. So the Fremantle line is the line that you need. And you can see that the big box there is the CBD, the downtown area. And it's about 1.5 kilometers to the heart of downtown, which is, for some people, a 15-minute walk. But even for those of you who want to take that at a more gentle pace, it's not a difficult walk. Some of you may have been here before. That doesn't make the walk any easier. But you may remember that there was a bridge that crossed over the railway track. That bridge still exists. You just can't walk on it anymore. We have to go a little bit further out of our way to then cross at another point and then walk back. And you will see the bridge there, and it will smile at you with that knowing grin, a smirk. I think it had some sort of structural challenges, and they decided that a few too many of us might lead to the end of the bridge, so they would rather keep it as a relic. I don't know if there are any plans to rebuild or improve the structure of the bridge, but for now it's not in use. Let's go through our top 10 for Fremantle. We start with a museum, the WA Western Australia Maritime Museum. Great museum, and there's one particular thing that I think is the most exciting part of this museum. A lot of these maritime museums have ships that you can go on, and they've got a submarine here. And so if you've ever wanted to go on board a submarine, a professional one, not like the Titan, this one is called the HMAS Ovens. It's an underwater kitchen. It was an Oberon-class submarine with the Australian Navy, and so it's World War II era, and it is kept on the World War II era submarine slipway. So it's all very authentic, and there are guided tours as well. They run every half an hour from 10 a.m. in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon if you would like to have a guided tour. These guided tours are led by local volunteers, but they know their stuff. One thing that's important to note, if you are interested in this, you will need to climb 9-meter high scaffolding stairs and ladders and things, because it's a submarine and it's a military submarine. It wasn't really made for comfort. So be aware that you will need to climb about 9 meters. Times that by 3 and you've got your footage. Also inside, there's an interesting panoramic exhibition, called Fremantle Then and Now. And so if you like to see how towns have changed, particularly, obviously, in this case, the marine side of the town, then that's an interesting one to go and view there. If, however, you prefer your ships sunk, then the WA Shipwrecks Museum is calling your name. There's a dedicated museum for all of these less fortunate vessels that didn't quite see it through. There's also some fairly considerable contributions that this museum has made to maritime archaeology. So if you are interested in archaeology and want to discover more about it from a marine perspective, then check this one out. And you'll also learn about how these ships found themselves underneath the waterline, if you would like to know, and what happens to them next. If you would like something a little bit more cheerful, there's the contain bow, and that's me underneath it. It's a rainbow container. It's a container rainbow. Has anybody been to Le Havre in France? They've got one there as well. Different containers, same idea. It's a nice photo opportunity. There's nothing else there. you walk along outside the port. You go out of the port, you turn left, you walk along the road, and you get to the bridge, which is going to take you over the water. And just by that bridge, there is this rainbow of containers. It's a nice photo opportunity and nothing else. You could have a beach day. You could have 2 beach days. There are quite a few beaches in Fremantle. At last count, I think there were 5. The nearest one is called Bathers Beach, and that's the little square that is close to the ship. So that's at Bathers Bay. It's a very short walk by the town hall. It's an inner city beach. It is not your most delightful beach, but it is a swimmable beach. And a nice one to relax because there's bars there. You could get yourself a drink and then enjoy being on the beach. If you wanted more of a beachy beach, then South Beach is an 8-minute drive, and you can see that's the other box, the slightly larger box at the bottom of the map. And you take a taxi there, or indeed a public bus. There is a free bus service that runs between downtown and South Beach, so you can pick that up. It's called the Cat. It's a bus, but it calls itself a cat, and that's okay. You can call yourself whatever you like these days. Rottnest Island is another great option for beaches. In fact, there are 63 beaches on this island if you would like to frequent all of them. It's not going to be a very relaxing beach day, but you could do a marathon of beaches. This island is an island, and therefore you cannot drive there. You must take a ferry. The ferry is a 30-minute ferry, and it costs you from 79 Australian dollars. The reason it is so expensive is because not only do you need the ferry ticket, you also need to pay entrance to the island, and the ticket wraps both in. So when you get to the island, you've already paid your entry fee, and that's included in your ticket. About $40 of that goes towards the entry fee to the island. When you get to Fremantle, you're then going from, we're in D shed, D for donkey, and we are going, if you're going to Rottnest Island, to B shed. That is B for bee. It's just further along, two down. They've got the reservations office, which is open from 6:30 to 5 o'clock, and you can pick up your ticket and then hop onto the ferry. There are 10 ferries that depart from Fremantle to Rottnest each day, and there are 10 ferries that depart from Rottnest to Fremantle each day. There is one ferry that will depart from Rottnest that will not come back to Fremantle, so don't get on that ferry. But all of the others, so there are 11 ferries a day, but one of them doesn't come back to Fremantle. It goes to Perth, so it's not all that far. Fremantle Market is a big draw, and very luckily, we are in town on a Friday and a Saturday, which is great because that is when the markets are open as well. And these markets are big. They were established in 1897. They are the one of just 2 surviving municipal market buildings in Western Australia. So it's something of a significant cultural landmark, as well as a flourishing market scene. You'll find everything here, from fruit and veg to trinkets and massages. They sell massages in the market, so if you've ever wanted to have a really relaxing massage, then this is probably not it. You could go to prison. There are 2 ways you can go to prison in Fremantle. I take that back. There are 3 ways. There are 3 ways. I hadn't thought of that way. There are 3 ways you can go to prison in Fremantle. The first is you can pay to go, and this is to visit the old convict prison. It's not been out of service for all that long. You'd be amazed. This prison closed in 1991. Yeah. So this was active pretty recently, and now you can pay to visit. They have some fantastic tours. They even have a nighttime tour. For if you would like a bit of a fright night, then you can go to prison at night and have a tour under cover of darkness. It was open for 140 years, and it was a maximum security jail. Maximum security. So some real nasties were in here. Ooh. So yes, well worth going to. I went last year. I bought my mother a prison guard. She was delighted. He sleeps with her now. You'll see him in the gift shop. I'm sure there are more if you would like to get a cuddly prison guard for someone dear to you. There's a convict cafe as well. If you like eating convicts, then they have a lovely convict scone, or scone as I tend to call them. Anyway, the other way you can go to prison is by doing something naughty, like taking an apple off the ship. The third way you can go to prison, and I know some of you will think this is silly because you have already paid for a room in Fremantle tomorrow night, but they have turned part of the prison estate into a hostel. It's not quite a hotel because it was a prison, you see. It doesn't have all of the facilities. There's no swimming pool. But if you want to stay in prison, you can pay for a room in prison. And you can stay overnight. And then you can tell people that you went to prison on your holiday. Your family will be so proud. Also, on the topic of prisons, this was the original prison. This was the Round House. It is the oldest building in Western Australia. Certainly the oldest Western settler building or structure. It was the original jail of the state. It opened in 1831, just 18 months after settlement. So you can see how naughty those original settlers were. They only survived 18 months without having to lock one of their number away. It was threatened with demolition in the 1920s, but they saved it. And so now it's a really great site to visit, especially if you go at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they do a daily cannonball fire. This is because this is how they used to set their clocks. I don't know why they chose 1 o'clock rather than 12 o'clock. Maybe it was cheaper. But they are quite clever, that. So every day at 1 o'clock, they shoot one cannon, and that meant that everybody could set their clocks to make sure that they were on the correct time. And if you arrive early, you might even be selected to fire the cannon. So well worth going to that. That's at the Roundhouse, which is very close to the ship, just at the corner of the dock area. It's open 10:30 to 3:30, and it's free, though they do invite donations. I recommend to donate as many dollars as you hear cannon blasts. That might make them think twice. If you want to go out to dinner tomorrow, then this is a lovely place to go. The Fishing Boat Harbour. It's still a working fishing boat harbour, which is how it gets its name. But it's also got some lovely restaurants. It's busy. It's got some real buzz to it. Bit of shouting, bit of seaweed flying about, and a bit of fish and chips. So that's really nice. If you don't like seagulls, not your favourite place to go, because they love it too. But it's got a great atmosphere in there day and night. So head over there. If you love military stuff, then the Army Museum of Western Australia could be for you. You go out of the ship, you turn left, and you go up to nearby the Oval area. And there are a few galleries here. They take it from pre-1914, then they take a World War I gallery, a World War II gallery. There's a prisoner of war exhibition. There's a post-1945 army gallery. There's guns and vehicles on display as well. And there's a special exhibition about the Victoria Cross and about people in this part of Australia who have been awarded it. So really interesting place to visit. And it takes about 2 hours to get around and enjoy it in a good, steady pace. So give yourself 2 hours for that one. Alrighty, so that gets us to 10 on Fremantle. Here is a map of where they are all laid out. Where number 5 is, that's Rottnest Island, but that's the ferry stop. The island is obviously 30 minutes up the stream, or downstream, really. All right, let's talk about Albany then. Okay, I knew some of you would want something about Perth. So here's a picture of Perth. Very nice. That's what it looks like. That is a QR code, and that QR code will take you to the Perth Public Transport website, where there is a good journey planner. You can also see a map of their public transport system. I recommend, if you're planning on going into Perth, there are a few different tickets you can buy. The easiest one, and the one that just gives you the most amount of flexibility to enjoy your day, is called a day rider. The day rider just gives you full day access to the public transport system, and it's $10.30. So it's a really good price for a really good transport system, and you can get all over town with that. So that's the easiest way, and then you don't have to keep thinking about getting more tickets. So that's my tip for getting around. I'm going to go through top 10 for Perth now for you, and then we'll go to Albany. I have not put in maps for Perth, so I've put in an extra picture instead. We have our first one, Swan Bell Tower. This is right by where the train goes in. The train goes into Perth Station, and when you emerge from Perth Station, you are very close to quite a few of the highlights. The Botanical Gardens we'll talk about in a minute, and Swan Bell Tower. This is quite a distinctive building. It's not what you would imagine when somebody says about a traditional bell ringing tower. Certainly I don't imagine such a modern glass building wrapped in a sort of a cocoon. It was presented to the people of Western Australia in 1988. The bells inside were originally the bells of London's St Martin in the Field Church, which if you've been to London, I've been a couple of times, and I've been to that church, and I did think it was awfully quiet. So it was to celebrate the state's bicentenary. They gifted the state these bells. So they're 18th century bells. They're still rung. They're rung by a team of volunteers who practice here, and it is or was the first designated bell ringing centre outside of the UK. I think there are now a few more, but this was the first one outside of the UK. You can see an exhibition about the history of the bells and the ringing. There's an open-air viewing platform if you like to see the view of the city and the river, and that's up there as well. And it's the only place, I believe, where you will see, I believe this is in the world, the only place where you can see 16 bells being rung simultaneously. It's a real racket. Is that the bells on the pregnant side? Yes. This is one of the bells. What? No, it's correct way up, actually. It's quite interesting. This is the way they've hung it. It's because we're in Australia. You'll see it. I'm not even joking. That is the way they've hung it. This is a cathedral, St George's Cathedral. He also came over from London after slaying the dragon. He just wanted some time in the sun. It's a red brick in parts, but you can see that they've also added on some newer sections as well. It's a Gothic revival cathedral, and you can visit it for free from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Quite interesting, the roof. Look up when you're in the cathedral, assuming you go in the cathedral, and check out the roof. It's a jarrah roof, which is an endemic wood. So you'll then be able to see the jarrah tree if you go to the Botanic Garden, and you can tell it that you saw it great-great-great-grandfather in the cathedral. There's also Fremantle limestone, which is quarried from the local area. Italian marble, which is not local. This is something I'm very interested to go to. And actually, I heard, I think I'm going to be giving somebody a phone call. I've heard that at least one of you has arranged a guided tour of the Perth Mint coming this afternoon, I'm sure. And I'm really interested in this because I collect coins. This is the one of the most beautiful buildings in the city. Um, it's was built in 1899. 1899, and the whole time in that time it's been the Perth Mint. So right the way from its construction, it was responsible for producing and distributing gold sovereigns, which is arguably, some people call it the world's greatest coin. The original gold sovereigns, and there were, so it's the British sovereign, but at the time. And they still produce sovereigns, but now they produce their own Australian ones. But at the time in the British Empire, gold sovereigns were distributed around the empire to a specified design. And it was owned by the British until 1970. So for a very, very long time, it was operating as a British mint. And now it is very much an Australian mint. They mint their own coins. They have their own currency. But they do still make gold sovereigns, and so I'm very interested to go and have a look at that. They have a gallery there as well with some of the world's largest gold bars, huge collection of gold nuggets as well, and they also do demonstrations of gold pouring into molds and how they mint the coins. It's very interesting. So this is on my list for Perth. It's oh, by the way, it's $24, but you can go higher than that if you want guided tours and if you want to buy anything, of course, as well. But there are some good guided tours, but you pay extra for that. The Perth Cultural Centre is one of the art centres in the area. There are a few different sites within this one complex. So there's galleries, there's museums. It's a really good place to go if you want just an overview of the story of Western Australia. This is a good place to go for that. And a lot of the site is free to visit. You've also got the Western Australia Museum. The Western Australia Museum has got a whole floor devoted to Aboriginal culture. So if you want to find out about the various tribes that live in this part of Australia, and there are quite a few along the waters, then this is a good place to go for that. There's a land and people exhibition which tells the story of the state's history and really about how did the Aboriginal community and then the settler community tame the land to make it livable. Because this is a desert, a vast, vast, unlivable desert. And now it's the site of thriving towns and cities. So how did that come to be? And if you love kangaroos stuffed, then this is a really good place to see them because they have got a wonderful collection in the Jubilee wing of stuffed marsupials and also some rocks and minerals and stuff like that. They've also got a meteorite collection. If you enjoy space, then they've got a rather large meteorite. The largest one that they've got is called the Mundrabilla meteorite, and it weighs in at 12.4 tons. Yeah. The person that it hit didn't survive. This is one of Australia's national art galleries, the Art Gallery of Western Australia. And if you've been going to the others, then you might as well add this one into your collection. It's got a really fantastic collection of Aboriginal art. It's widely considered to be the country's best collection of Aboriginal art. But there's also other art from Western Australian artists. There's also a fairly sizable collection of British art here. And the display stretches from 1800s, the earliest piece, right up to the present day. I was talking with some of you about Aboriginal art a little bit over the last week or so, for obvious reasons, and something which I find very interesting about Aboriginal art, given how old Aboriginal culture is, people assume that Aboriginal art is equally old, but it's not. It is a form of modern art. Aboriginal communities didn't paint. It wasn't one of the things that they did. They carved, they drew into rocks, but they didn't paint. It was only a meeting of Western cultures that brought painting into their sort of sphere of influence. And then a few particularly influential Aboriginal artists decided to give this new medium a go and created a style of painting which then took off in the 20th century. It was only from about 1930s that Aboriginal painted art became a thing. So it very much is a contemporary art form. Right, let's go to something which is very old. The Botanic Garden. Brilliant botanic garden here. Australia has some really wonderful botanic gardens, and the best thing about them is that they are, generally speaking, free to visit. They are extensive gardens. They've got wonderful displays, lovely walking paths through them, and free to visit, often on the waterfront because so much of Australia is built on the waterfront. This one opened in 1965. It's got half of Australia's 25,000 species on display in this garden. So if you want to spend your day charting 12,500 species, then you're going to have a wonderful time. There is also an elevated walkway. It's called Lottery West Walkway. I believe it was sponsored by Lottery West. It's 620 meters, and it just gradually climbs and climbs up. So that as you walk, you end up in the canopy of the trees. It does cost you. It only costs you $1 though. So it's worth doing it. If you go to the gardens to then take that walkway, you'll see the gardens from a totally different perspective. And you really get up there looking down. There are Murray, Carry, Tingle, and Jarrah trees to look down on. And I've always wanted to hang out with a Tingle tree. So also it's wheelchair accessible. So it's open for everybody, which is great. Perth Zoo. If you prefer your marsupials unstuffed, then this is the place to see them whilst they are still breathing. You'll also see some other Australian animals. In fact, you'll see pretty much all of Australia's wildlife. The thing with animals, the very best way to see animals is in the wild. And there are good opportunities on this itinerary to see them in their natural habitat. But if you're not intending to go out on those occasions, then the zoo is a fantastic way to get a good overview and to get some good information. They do research in the zoo as well, like which part of a kangaroo is ticklish. It's a great place to see the animals. There's also a wildlife tour that they offer in a zebra car. And so you drive around in a car that's been painted to look like a zebra. You feel really, really cool whilst you're doing it. And there is an Australian bushwalk trail, which will take you about an hour to complete. And as you walk through, you'll see animals of the Australian bush, and you see reptiles, penguins, crocodiles, emus, echidnas. There are wombats. There are lots of native birds that could poo on you. There's loads of things to look forward to in this zoo. Given that we're there overnight, here's something that I would love to do, but my schedule doesn't permit, so you can tell me all about it if you choose to go. There's the Perth Concert Hall. It's one of the best concert halls in Australia. Now, people know about the Sydney Opera House because it's iconically designed for the outside. But the acoustics inside the Opera House in Sydney aren't actually as good as the Perth Concert Hall, because they designed it with the outside in mind rather than the inside in mind. It's an iconic building. It's still an amazing place to go and enjoy something. But for people who really want the quality of the music, Perth is one of the best in Australia. It's well known for this. It's pretty ugly on the outside. As you can see from this picture, it's that sort of 1960s, 70s brutalism, which I suppose we have some of you to thank for. But inside, it's got great acoustics. And tomorrow night, we're just in time for a one-night performance from the Australian Chamber Orchestra, who are doing a national tour. It starts at 7:30, so you've got plenty of time to get there if you want to go to see it. There are still seats available, and those seats start at $25. And it's a production called River. Those of you who have cruised with Holland America Line for a while, do you remember our BBC Earth series? It's that sort of concept, but with a full orchestra. So the theme is rivers and waterways and the story of the world through the waterways. They've got spectacular visuals, really cinematic, and then the full orchestra plays underneath it. And I love those sorts of concerts. I think they're mesmerizing. So The music, you'll recognize a lot of it. They've got Bach, they've got Vivaldi, Sibelius, Ravel, Radiohead. Quite a lot. And it's narrated by Willem Dafoe. So he's the voice that sort of carries the whole thing through. So an idea for you to make use of the evening, if you want. Alternatively, we will have an evening show in here. The police force are going to be performing for us. That wasn't a joke. The police force are coming on and they're going to be performing for us. They've got a great show. I think they bring some sticks. Perth has a hop-on, hop-off bus as well. The hop-on, hop-off bus is red with a bit of blue. And it's called the Perth Explorer. The Perth Explorer takes you around 15 different stops, pretty much all of the main sites. And you can see a map on their website. The ticket costs you $33. And you can pick it up closest to the train station, actually. If you go to Perth Station, then a 5-minute walk out of the station, and you pick up the bus from there, and you can buy your ticket at the bus area if you would like to. All right, let's go to Albany now. So Albany is on the south coast of West Australia, and it's coming up to celebrating 200 years. 2026 is going to be Albany's bicentenary, and they're already celebrating, just in case they don't make it. The port is slightly smaller than Fremantle, so they've still got the toilet roll. They've got tourist information as well. That's in case they've run out of toilet roll. You can use the leaflets. And they've got taxis outside too. Here's a quick picture of a map to give you an overview of what the place looks like. As always, we are where the ship is in the circle. And the main CBD area is to the left of the port. There are a couple of sites to the right that you might be interested in, which we'll talk about in a moment. But most of the stuff is to the left. Some people can do it in 20 minutes. Other people can drive it in 3. Okay, let's start to go through our top 10. So the National Anzac Centre is one of the main highlights of Albany. Anzac is a military nickname, and so it is largely a military museum. Anzac, Australia and New Zealand, AC. I don't know, can't remember off the top of my head what the AC stands for. Oh, Army Corps. Yeah, should have been able to guess that one. Australia and New Zealand Army Corps, and they got that nickname following the Second World War, and the battles that were taking place in the Pacific, in Papua New Guinea area, and it started off as a nickname, and then it was just adopted as the name. There's the Anzac Memorial Day every year in Australia, which is probably the most serious of the Memorial Days in Australia's calendar, even more so than 11/11. Anzac Day is a really big deal. The really nice thing about this centre is when you go in, you will be given the identity of a person who served in the Australia and New Zealand Corps. So you'll be given a picture of them, their name, a little bit of information about them. And so then when you're walking around the museum, it's a lot more personal. You've actually got somebody in mind as you're learning about the story of the place. So I think that's a really nice touch of what they did. It's the area of town was originally a fortress built in 1893, but as you can see from the picture, they've definitely added some newer elements. Amazing panoramic views over King George Sound as well for good photographs. There's a public art trail as well. If you want to just sort of wander around on a self-guided trail, there's a really nice public art trail. You can get it from a website called theamazingsouthcoast.com, or you can scan that QR code there. It's going to take you right to the correct page. Quite a big box on the map because you will walk around all over the town. And this one that's I've put as the example was commissioned the Silo community, Silo community, and that is right by the port. So you'll be able to see that one as you get off the ship. There are 7 major artworks in this trail. And the QR code takes you to the leaflet. So there is a PDF leaflet which has all of them with the artist name, the name of the piece, and where they are on the map. This is the Museum of the Great Southern. So we're on the south coast of Australia now. And here you'll discover what life was like on board a convict ship. So in order to get convicts to Australia, they were sent on ships, and they weren't the most pleasant of experiences. And they have one of these ships that you can walk on board. The Brig Amity is what it was called. And it was an 1826 journey that brought it over here. It's now just outside the museum, so you can tour it. It had a 6-week journey. 6-week journey from Sydney. So this isn't from Britain. This is from Sydney to King George Sound. Quite an uncomfortable journey, and that was how they set up the first European settlement on the west coast of Australia. It was originally a convict settlement. There's also right now there's an exhibition about the Spinifex country, which is the Aboriginal country for traditional owners of the area, and so that's here at this museum too, if you'd like to check that one out. If you want another beach day, then Middleton Beach is one option for you. That's the closest one to where the ship is. It's just on the other side of the parkland, the hill there, and you can see it's a beautiful beach, very green and verdant in the surrounding area. It's about a 7-minute drive to get there. It's a good one for swimming in, good one for other recreational beach activities, whatever that means to you. And there's a nice boardwalk, the Ellen Cove Boardwalk, if you want to just go on a nice walk along the beach. It's also a popular whale watching spot, but that depends on which other cruise ships are in with us at the time. Thank you. Very slow. That was a real slow burner, that one. Emu Point is another option for you, a little bit further away, but it's another good beach. It's a sheltered beach, this one. It's got Emu Beach there, but you've also got Oyster Harbour Beach, and then you've got Emu Point Marina. So a little trio of options there. And that's good. If you wanted to go kayaking, but you're not good at it, then this is a good place to go because it's sheltered, it's calmer. You can have some good protected kayaking or paddling. You can even go fishing there. This is something that is known in the area, op shops. Now, many of you will call them thrift stores. I call them charity shops. But in Australia, op shops. But here in Albany, they're particularly known for their op shops. And you can pick up some great treasures in there, antiques and stuff. A couple of the best ones are by appointment only. And so if you want to visit some of them, just ask the visitor information to give them a call, and they'll set up an appointment. There's one called Deco Down Under. Deco Down Under, largely an Art Deco antique shop. And Antique Bottles. Antique Bottles is another one. If you are a bottle collector, then you've found your place here. But the QR code will take you to a list of all of the different op shops in town. Or you could go back to jail. If you had a great time in Fremantle jail, then Albany Convict Jail and Museum is the place to go. It was built in 1852, and it was home to hundreds of convicts that came from transportation, both from England and also from Sydney between 1850 to 1868. This is the oldest surviving dwelling in Western Australia. It doesn't look like much, but it's actually quite a large house inside. You can tour around Patrick Taylor Cottage. It opened in, well, I say opened, it was lived in from 1832. So it dates back to 1832. But as with a lot of these historic houses, some of the furniture dates back a lot further than that. You can see things from the 1600s in this house. I always find it funny when they do this. Come to this house and see the furniture from a totally different era. But you can see so much interesting antique furniture, and of course see how people lived back in the day when this was originally being set up. It was purchased by Patrick Taylor in 1834, and so that's why it has been given his name today. It's, I think, a 12-room house. 12 rooms, quite a large space. Something it is worth saying is it's not hugely accessible because in the 1830s, that wasn't so much on their mind. So there are certain rooms that are a little bit tricky to navigate between, whether that's uneven flooring, whether that's steps between rooms. So just have that in mind if you're interested. Two more things for you on this, and we wrap up. The historic whaling station is my top tip for Albany. This is where I'm going to try and head out to. This is on the other coast. You have to go around the bay, but there's a bus and a taxi that could take you around the bay, about 23 minutes drive. And it is an intact whale processing factory. And there is also a whale chasing ship there that you can have a look at. And so a really, really fascinating place. This Chains Beach Whaling Company operated in this area until 1978. So again, fairly recent that they stopped operations. And if you get a ticket, which is the only way to get in, it will also give you access to the Australian Wildlife Park and Regional Wildflower Garden. So there's other things to enjoy in the area as well. It's open from 9 till 5, and I'm really intrigued by this. So this is going to be my top tip for Albany. And final tip for Albany, if you enjoy those self-guided walking tours, I mentioned the art trail before, but there's been a new project just launched this year in anticipation of the bicentenary, and it's called the Landmarks and Laneways Trail. The Landmarks and Laneways Trail is actually a collection of trails. There are 19 different routes to choose from that they've created. You go to this website or this QR code, and it'll bring up a page with all of the different options. You click on one that's of interest to you, and it will take you on a guided walk through the different highlights there with some information of what you're seeing, and it gives you, this is quite useful, it gives you an anticipated length of the trail as well. So this trail takes 45 minutes, this trail takes half an hour, so you know roughly how much time you're giving to it. All right, this is Albany on a map so you can see where things are laid out. You can see that largely there's a real block of things in that CBD area. Albany's not as large as Fremantle, and so things are pretty much closer together, with the exception of just a few of those highlights. Well, thank you very much indeed for coming this morning. We will take questions this evening about Fremantle and Perth, so I look forward to seeing you there before the shows. Have a great day.